Success for you used to feel steady. You worked hard, you made progress. There was a sense that things were lining up the way that they were supposed to. Lately, though, something's shifted. You're still showing up, you're still carrying responsibility. What's in front of you still gets done. When the last milestone arrived, though, it didn't land the way you thought it would. And right now, there's no crash going on, there's no crisis. This sense that something's off is just sitting in the back of your mind. Now, that kind of disorientation is very hard to name, especially for capable people. You followed the path that was supposed to work, you stayed disciplined, commitments were honored along the way, and in many ways it did work. Doors opened up, opportunities showed up, respect followed from the people you wanted it from. So from the outside, nothing looks broken. Inside, though, there's this emptiness that's really easy to brush past, but it's very hard to explain. Most people assume that feeling means they need a better version of success. So a bigger win or a nicer result seems like the answer. The hope is that clarity is going to come back once something finally clicks. That belief is what keeps them moving. So refinement follows that. Adjustments get made, pressure increases just a little bit, all in the hope that that emptiness is going to resolve itself. Most often it doesn't. Instead, what happens is it just fades into the background, which somehow makes it harder to trust what you're sensing. Part of why this happens is that success is never only about outcomes. Over time, it starts doing internal work. Stability settles in. Your nervous system gets the message that, hey, things are okay. Questions get answered without being spoken. So questions about adequacy or whether it's safe to ease up on the pace. None of that is wrong. It's just human. The trouble starts when success stops being a result and starts becoming a reference point. Orientation begins to happen around worth or faithfulness or security. And at that point, success isn't just something you experience. Dependence starts to sneak in a little bit. Weight gets added that it was never meant to carry. For people of faith, things can tangle even faster. Productivity and obedience slowly start to blur together. Fruit starts to feel like confirmation. Progress becomes reassurance. Nothing about that gets said out loud, but the body feels it anyway. When things are moving, alignment seems very obvious. When momentum slows down, doubt starts to creep in. More often than not, that doubt isn't about God. It turns inward. What often goes unnoticed is that God doesn't center success the way we do. He uses it and allows it. At times, he grants it very generously. The point of success, though, is rarely the outcome itself. In Scripture, achievement tends to show up as context rather than conclusion. The deeper work keeps happening underneath. Formation takes place internally. Motives get clarified. Your dependence shifts. That kind of work unsettles disciplined people because formation resists being measured. Progress can be tracked. Alignment cannot. Outcomes are very easy to point to. Internal honesty isn't. So when success becomes the primary signal you trust, anything that threatens it can feel like a threat to stability itself. This is often why success eventually stops satisfying. The issue isn't that it's bad. The issue is that it's being asked to do too much. Identity was never part of its job description. Security was never meant to rest on your success. So when it takes on that role, it can't sustain the load for that long. The weight's just wrong for it. That dissatisfaction is trying to tell you something. You're not being asked to walk away from achievement or take less responsibility. What needs to change is where your attention goes. It's worth noticing that success, what it's been standing in for. That deeper layer is often where God does his work, especially when outward movement stops carrying the same weight. Formation tends to surface when old signals stop working. So the metrics that once reassured you start to lose their power. They should. And that shift doesn't mean failure. Often it signals an invitation into a deeper alignment, one that doesn't depend on constant evidence. And then you see that life starts rooting itself in something steadier than performance. This, though, is where many people get stuck. A shift gets sensed, but there's no clear way to relate to it. Your old standards keep getting applied even though they no longer fit. Then restlessness follows, and then confusion comes. The work here isn't to fix the feeling or to rush past it. Space needs to be made for it to tell the truth. Success was never the point. It's always been a byproduct. Stewardship, enjoyment, celebration, they all still belong in your life. Success causes problems when it becomes the main thing. When it's put in its place, it works the way it's supposed to. God's attention isn't fixed on the success itself. It's on the person carrying the success. What's happening inside you matters more than what's visible on the outside. So integrity shows up over time. Alignment holds even when your results shift. That kind of work moves slowly and usually stays out of view, which is why it's very easy to overlook. If you've been sensing this quiet misalignment, doing more probably isn't the answer. Aiming higher is probably not going to help either. Something deeper could be maturing instead. This isn't a season for striving. It's a season for paying attention. Now, you don't have to resolve anything today. You're not required to answer any of this. Noticing is enough, though. Becoming aware of where success has been carrying too much weight starts to open space. That's often where God loosens the grip and builds something steadier underneath. Now, if this resonates, I explore these ideas more slowly in a weekly newsletter I write for people who are tired in a deeper way. Reflection has room there without pressure or without hype. Joining is optional. There's no rush. It's just an open invitation to keep paying attention to what's going on beneath the surface.